So today we're changing the alternator on a 2003 Mitsubishi Outlander front-wheel drive. The alternator on this vehicle is in a bit of an awkward spot. It's down buried underneath all this on the serpentine belt located on the passenger side of the vehicle. Now, there is a way to do this without removing all the stuff in front of it, but you're going to have to finagle it out of there. So first, let's talk about how we're going to access the bolts and all the components. You will need to get your vehicle up on a jack stand on the passenger side, as well as remove the fender liner from underneath so you can actually see things like the tensioning belt mechanism. So the first thing we're going to do is remove the serpentine belt from the auto tensioner and take the serpentine belt off of the system. So in order to get the serpentine belts off, we're going to have to work with this auto tensioner that is basically spring-loaded. Now you'll notice right here, there is a square drive. Now this is where you put your breaker bar to hold into the system, and we're going to use the breaker bar to turn this auto tensioner in a direction that will allow us to remove tension from the serpentine belt and take the belt off. Yep, and see? Oh, bro. Well, that didn't go according to plan.
No, it did not.
Now, we do want to make note that this spot is particularly brittle, apparently. So you really got to make sure that socket's in there pretty good. We're going to demonstrate for you really quick using a 1/2-inch drive socket wrench. And we're not going to go all the way. We did get the belt off. But basically...
Here, I'm going to do it.
Go ahead. See, like that. And that loosens the tension, and you should be able to get the belt off like that. It's better as a two-person job. Now here's the part where we have to come up into the engine bay. You'll see that our serpentine belt on the alternator is off. Now, there is a bolt right here, and it's going to be one of two main bolts that hold this alternator in place. Let's see if we can zoom in for you here on this one. There we go. And the bottom bolt is going to be completely 180 degrees from the position of this particular one. Alright, so
make sure it's set to off.
We are, let me get a good view of what's going on down here. We have a 14, is it 14 or 12?
It is 12. 12
millimeter socket on the bolt.
I'm going to try to get some good leverage on this. Not too bad. Didn't take a lot of tension. Oh, now I can hand unscrew it. Hold on. Reach in there.
Sorry about the focus, guys.
Alright, and with that, it's time to get a parts tray. Alright guys, so we're up here under the car right now. So as you can see, the connection on the left that you see there, that's the computer connection or the power connection, and the one right above that that's in the center that's having some trouble focusing. Give it a second. Well, that's the ground, and then right next to it, off to the left, you can't see it, but it's directly to the left of the computer connection, is the swing bolt. You go... I'm trying to get a good angle on it. It's really hard. It's hard to see, but it's up here, right there, and it's just, you're right next to the CV axle, and it's rather tight, so you're probably going to want to use a smaller wrench.
Once you've got the hardware out, so the bolt that goes to the bottom, the bolt that retains it in the top, and the nut that holds on the negative terminal, you'll need to figure out a way to finagle the alternator from out under there. Now, there's a few ways you could go about this. In theory, you can pull it up from the top and out, but you will need to remove some stuff out of the way, particularly things like this low pressure AC line right here, which there is a screw, or I'm sorry, a bolt. Let me get a focus on it. Right there that holds that the piping in place. Now, we're going to try and see if we can get it out without removing anything, but it's going to be a real challenge. This is a known kind of problem area for this engine. Okay, we're going to attempt to explain how we pulled it out of the top, because that is the hardest part of doing this. So Jeff, could you explain to me what you did?
All right, so this particular AC line is a gasket type connection. So you have to disconnect it right here, right next to the power steering fluid. You disconnect this, which we're gonna have to find a little, no, it's there, never mind. It has a built-in nut or anything, so don't worry about losing it. And then you have to twist it up all the way and just constantly finagle it until you can actually pull it back out. But you have to move this AC line.
We got our shiny new replacement alternator here, and we're gonna shove it back down where it belongs and hook this bad boy back up.